Insert effects are the effects you're probably most familiar with working in Logic because they're so easy to create. You simply select the track in the tracks area, which means that that corresponding channel strip is displayed in the inspector on the left hand side. It's very easy, you just click in the audio effects box, and then you've got a menu of all the different kinds of effects that you could use as insert effects. Let's make a compressor. So if I click on compressor in that menu, it will create a compressor and display the controls for that compressor or for that EQ or effects unit, whatever you've chosen as that insert effect. Now if you hover your mouse over this compressor that has appeared in your channel strip, you can see there's a few controls. The button on the left hand side turns it on and off, or really it bypasses it. The signals are going to come from this input, whatever it is, where it's a microphone or the signals on the track themselves, from the input through these use units, however many you have, these insert effects. It's going to be sent through any sends you have. We'll talk about sends in the next video, and then to this output. So we can choose to bypass the compressor completely. The next button shows or hides the control panel. And of course you can also close it up on that cross on the left hand side to show all those different parameters. And the very right hand button on that little icon there, we can choose to replace that compressor with any other item in this list, or indeed to destroy it entirely. Let's remake that compressor. Now if we've already got an insert effect in our list, this audio effects icon doesn't appear, but I do have this small bar that gets a bit darker when I hover over it, so I click on that and that's how I make a new one underneath. So let's make a delay underneath. Now it does matter the order that these effects are in, because as I just demonstrated a few seconds ago, this channel strip works in series. It goes from one component and it works down, down, down in order through all of these components till it gets to the output. So it makes a difference whether your signals are compressed and then have this delay processed, or whether we swap this over by clicking and dragging and they have the delay first and then the compressor applied. This does make a big difference. It's quite hard to conceive in words, but it'll be much easier for you to listen. So just play around with that for yourself and try dragging them in different orders. Try lots of different effects and see, but this order does really matter, as I say, because it's in series, which means that the signals come from one to the other, to the other, to the other in that logical progression. Now what happens if I've got a delay here that I really like? It's a really good delay that I've spent hours poring over. Let's say this one here. I spent hours poring over this delay and I'd like it to be available to other tracks, not just this one, but I'd like it to be available on other tracks. I can copy it from one to the other, and the easiest way to do this is in the mixer. You can see here's this channel strip for track 1. If I click and drag and hold down the Option key, which is Alt on your keyboard on the left hand side, I can copy it from one to the other. Fantastic. Now that compressor, I said delay tonight in the first instance. There we are. Now they're in both tracks. Swap them over. Identical. That's great, because I've copied them from one to the other, and all the settings will be the same as well. Now if I go back maybe in the next few minutes, maybe a couple of days later, and I decide, actually this compressor, I want to change the settings a bit. I want to change them. I don't want a threshold of minus 20 dB. I want it to be more like that. I want to change it ever so subtly, but just change it. Now of course these changes won't be reflected in the compressor for the other effect. Let's open that control panel as well. Now these are almost similar, and in fact they were identical up until the point that I changed it, except that now on 1 the threshold is minus 20, 22.5 rather, for the one I just changed, and for the one that I copied over and didn't change, it's minus 20, obviously. Now it would be easier if I could get these two tracks to share the effect, because otherwise for all of the different delays across all of the tracks, if I want them to be the same, I'm going to have to go into each one precisely and specifically, methodically, and make sure that they're all identical, and that's clearly unworkable for a massive project. I need a different way of doing this, and the way to do that is to use a send effect.